they believe that you go through stages. Wait. Scratch all that I just said.
It's one of my favorite podcasts. Welcome to the I Like to Hear Myself Talk podcast. That's Cam, I'm Jake, and we are...
The Grass Daddies.
Thirsty. Thirsty is what we are.
Yeah, very thirsty.
We're currently broadcasting from Satan's Gooch.
And he's wearing wool underwear.
We have just gone through 4 days in a row of 100-degree highs with humidity. And
we've been reaching like 115 feels like fucking temperatures.
It has been atrociously hot. So the beer menu tonight are these little White Claw refresher. What?
I call them a White Claw lemonade.
White Claw lemonade. That's kind of racist. But we just had Chinese food, so I don't know. But I'm thirsty. What?
Pass me one.
Let's see.
Let's try the blood orange.
We got blood orange. Okay, that was the first one.
I want to pop a blood orange.
Blood orange, blackberry, strawberry, and limon.
White Claw, come on. We've been waiting.
We already got turned down from Busch Light, so now we need you guys to step up, sponsor us. Oh, this is going to be so good. White Claw lemonade refresher.
Give it a smell test.
All right, Gabe.
Oh, that's fire.
They're all lemonade. They're like lemonade blackberry, lemonade strawberry, lemonade whatever. So,
I need that real quick.
Get your shit right.
I'm sorry.
I was looking at your shirt while we were getting our food. Are there grass stains on there? What is that shit that's on your shirt?
The yellow?
Yeah, what is that? Is that part of it?
Yeah.
So, we got some food, as we always do before we started this podcast, and we were all so hangry, I thought someone was going to die.
Dude.
When I was taking our friend back, because, side story, we have a friend who
doesn't have a vehicle and has to ride a bike home when it's 117 degrees outside.
His truck is in the shop, and he's been biking to and from work from not close
it's like
to where we
an
work.
Hour, something like that.
He said it takes him like an hour and a half. It's like a 10-mile bike ride, one direction. And I ain't talking about Harry. Stop. So I was taking him home today, and I'm like, I kind of wanted to get things going a little bit so that we're not here all night. Even though it's only not even 7. But so I messaged our group chat. I was like, dinner? And then, of course, I get the same, I don't care, from one woman. And another, I don't care. So I say, Chinese? Nobody says anything.
And that's why I was finally like, yeah, I'm down.
So I was like, yay or nay? Because a little time went by. I was picking these up. No one said anything. And I got a yay from Bailey. And I got a sure from Lena. Now, most people, when they see sure, they're like, that means she's also okay with it. But when I saw sure, what I read in my mind was, fuck you. I don't want that shit.
Get that shit out of here.
But I came home and she was like, no, that's fine. So she curved my beliefs and we got Chinese food and it was delicious.
Okay. This is going to be a perfect topic for how blistering fucking hot it is.
Okay.
What is your house temperature usually set at?
So it's normally at like 75. Well, it's at like... Here's the deal. I don't know what's going on with our thermostat. Because it's at like 75 during the day. But when I get home, or like at a certain time, it changes to 72. And then about the time we go to bed, it switches to 69. Now, we don't have a smart thermostat. But when Corbin lived here, he like took the old one off and put his on. And it was like a smart thermostat that he could like adjust it and probably set shit on his phone. which he would have had to like wire it in.
Yeah.
So I don't know if like somehow it just like transferred the program to the old one, because whenever he left, he put the old one back on, and now it like moves up and down on its own, and it's like an old thermometer or old thermostat. So I don't know why it does that. But I'll get home from work and it'll be at like 75, and I'll change it back down to 72.
You guys are fucking crazy.
It doesn't stay. It's not that hot.
75 is way too hot.
But it's when we're not even here, which is
at-
fine.
Ours is at like 68 all day.
When I went to when I was at Midland, the men's dorm did not have air conditioning. This is about the time of year people are starting going to school.
Fuck.
My air conditioning was just my fan blowing on my feet at night. That was my air conditioning.
Fuck that. I couldn't sleep. I wouldn't be able to sleep.
And then eventually we moved into these like on campus like kind of apartment style things like the next year, and people were idiots and they were turning their thermostat down so far that it was just freezing the air conditioning, because you can't just turn it like down to 50 because then it'll work too hard and then it'll freeze because it'll get so cold, and then it'll have the opposite effect because it won't be working, and then it'll get hot, and it'll be like people keep trying to set it lower and lower because it's like it's starting to get hot in here. And their air conditioning will freeze.
See, year round, I keep our apartment, whether it's wintertime, it's hot enough for me to walk around in my skivvies and be comfortable in my skivvies. And in the summertime, it's cold enough for me to be able to walk around and be comfortable in my skivvies.
So that's like your thermometer is your penis. You just stick it out in the air, and if it's warm enough to be out, then you're good. And if it's cold enough to be out, you're good.
Yeah. I like just to start shriveling just a little bit. And then I'm
when
like,
it starts,
yeah, that's perfect temperature.
When it starts to shrivel up a little bit, that's when you know you're there, and you got to dial it back a couple notches.
No, that's when I just pull up my undies and I'm perfect.
Oh, okay. Because that little thin layer of underwear just is what helps set it.
Puts it right, yeah.
Sets it right. Okay, so.
And then when I get really comfortable, when it's like the perfect temperature, I know because I get rock solid.
I just turned hard as a rock. I just turned to stone like Medusa was looking at me. I was walking down the hall and saw Medusa and just turned to stone.
What is that off?
Medusa?
Oh, I didn't know if that was like a quote for something.
No, I'm just funny.
Oh.
So I gotta tell you about what said the other day to me.
Oh yeah, I've been waiting.
Oh wait, I said his name. I'm not gonna say his last name.
I doubt he cares.
Okay, so we have a coworker who cleans the bathrooms for us because we have bathrooms on our golf course, and he like goes around and gets the trash and cleans out the bathrooms. And it was like right before lunch. I was kind of sitting in the office, or it was right about when he leaves, which is around like 10 o'clock. We take lunch at 11. I think I was waiting to hear where I needed to spray out the rest of what was in my tank. And he just comes walking in the office, and he goes, I wasn't really listening. Something, all my dishes are broken. And I'm like I wasn't really paying attention. I was kind of on my phone. And then he goes, I put them in my washing machine. And I go, what? I kind of snapped to attention. I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, I put all my dishes in the washing machine. They're all broken. I'm like, you what? He's like, I don't remember doing it. He's got
dementia.
I was going to say he has a certain condition that makes him not remember things very well.
He has dementia. Literally, we're not being dumb. So he accidentally put his dishes in the washing machine. They all broke. And then he proceeded to go, did you take a shit in the champ bathroom? I was like, no. He's like, well, then it must have been your buddy. Referring to you, because you like to do that. I don't shit out there. Not in the summertime. Summertime is a no-go for the bathrooms because they don't have air conditioner. And I'm not about ready to sit there and just be fucking just
while I'm trying to take a shit.
Have you ever been like sitting on the toilet when it's really hot in there and your ass cheeks are wet and you're just sliding around in the toilet seat? God, it's the worst thing ever. So anyways, he goes, well, it must have been your buddy then. And then he goes, I stuck my finger down in there and put my finger He's like, I put my finger in the shit and pulled it out and it's still smooth, so I knew it was still fresh. And I'm just looking at him. He goes, smell my finger, does it still stink? And I'm like, what the fuck? And then he goes, I'm just fucking with you, man. I'm just like, see you later. And he's like, yeah, I gotta go to the dollar store and get more dishes. So I'm like, bye. Have a good day.
Okay, well, anyways, he's told me a plethora of stories, and he's like,
maybe since we said his name, maybe we shouldn't.
We're gonna bleep it at the end.
We're gonna bleep his name.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bleep his name since I edit these episodes. Okay, okay.
I think that's right. Which I doubt he would care, but either way.
Fuck. I name dropped again. Okay.
But he was telling me one time, he's like, so every morning he comes to work, he makes this like, it's like a workout drink to help boost your metabolism, like speed his metabolism up or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, usually every morning I make my drink. And he's like, one morning I like snapped out of it and I was pouring cleaner in I was pouring cleaner in my cup, and he's like, what the fuck? Just dumped it out. And he goes, then I made my drink. I was like, well, did you at least clean your cup out? He's like, I don't remember. I'm like, well, that's great.
He's like, I think I got my wires crossed because the nutrition thing said something about cleaning out your system. So I saw the word clean, so I thought it was good.
Well, so when he was telling me this, it was like early winter, you know, maybe late fall. And this guy will show up with a sweatshirt on, no gloves, tennis shoes, and it's like butt ass cold. Like, it's freezing ass cold out. And I'm always like, dude, you need some gloves? Like, I got extra pair of gloves if you want to wear them. He's like, no, I'll be fine. I got my my drink. It warms me up inside. I'm like, well, it's probably fucking cleaner.
Because you're drinking gasoline.
But he's a good shit.
Yeah, my extremities start feeling all tingly. Because you're drinking harmful chemicals that aren't meant to be consumed. Almost said his name again, but I didn't. Oh,
that's
man.
So whenever he's cleaning the bathrooms on the golf course, one day, his biggest thing is nobody goes in there after he cleans them. Which people are going to go in there no matter what after you clean them. But
when he's in the process of mopping the floor and Cam goes running in going, I got a shit! Not really the nicest thing.
Well, I think this whole thing started because one day I literally took a shit on 4. He just started cruising down. He just parked his cart. I was mowing the green and he walks out there and he goes, did you just take a fucking shit?
It pisses him off.
Dude, but that one was so bad. It wasn't as bad as my slow cooking, but it was bad.
There was one time where someone had egregious diarrhea all over the toilet and stall. And then whenever he got to it, he like called our boss and was just like, I'm not cleaning this. And so he drew the short stick, Cam, and he put on one of my spray suits. So he looked like a hazmat suit worker.
And I wore a respirator too.
And he went in there to clean it. And then I got out there to help him. And I asked our bathroom guy. Our bathroom guy. And he's like, I just can't do shit. He's like, I didn't sign up for this. I was like, aren't you a janitor? He's like, yeah, but I can't do shit.
He's told me other stories about like his old work, but I don't know if I should share those.
Yeah, no, we don't need to talk about we don't need to talk about him this whole time. One thing I wanted to talk about, in the spirit of how hot it's been, I wanted us to share some stories about the coldest we've ever been. Because I just don't want to think about the heat anymore. I just want to just take me to an Arctic paradise.
I can take you fucking somewhere.
Take me somewhere right now.
So
take me somewhere cold. I just need.
We work year round. We cut trees in the winter and we move snow because we have a restaurant with our golf course. And so it was a day. It was a day where we had like a super. It was like an Arctic. I can't remember what they called it, but remember when that came through, and it was like freezing ass cold. Like freezing at like negative 40s.
I don't
like
know.
Wind chill.
Maybe.
But we had that come through, and I use a Ventrac, which is just like you stand on it. Yeah, it's got a plastic sheet around your upper
like
body.
Your torso.
Yeah. And it's not... It gets cold, because then you're blowing snow, and the snow's blowing back onto you into the wind. It gets cold. And so we went back to the shop.
It's the coldest job because you're standing still and outside.
Yeah.
There's other people that are like snow blowing, but they're walking, so they're like exerting some energy. But since you're on like a stand-on machine, you're outside, but you're standing in place, not moving.
Yeah. And so we also have sidewalks that go pretty much all the way, like half of our golf course. It goes
just around the perimeter of the entire facility.
Which I've done the math. It's 2-something miles if you stretch it out.
Oh my god!
Yeah, because one day I weedy-edged the whole entire curb line. But so we got that going on. I finished up all my cleaning. Like I do a little bit of cleaning at the loading dock and sidewalks up the clubhouse and that stuff. We got done. We went back to the shop to warm up, and I'm like, there's no way you guys are making me do sidewalks. And they made me do sidewalks, which we have. Our entrance road is like windy, and I start on one side and I work all the way down the entrance road, and then I go all the way down to another entrance. And the one trip is especially long. What sucks is with that one trip, it's not like, you work one direction and then work your way back. You work your way one direction and then you just got to drive your ass all the way back. And we have 2 busy streets that run right by our golf course. So it's not like somebody can park on the side of the road and warm up.
Yeah, you have no relief. There's no place for you to warm up.
Yeah, and it was... My gloves ended up getting wet because they got snow blown on them. And then my heat warmed them up. So my gloves were wet. And this was the same time that I seen it on Instagram. Nebraska was just as cold as Antarctica.
Oh my lord.
Or something like or Alaska. The temperature in Alaska was the same as it was in Nebraska. And so I got to the other end, and like halfway through it, my legs went numb and my hands went numb, and I was like,
I think I kind of remember this.
Well, and then a guy at work went to the entrance and picked me up in his car so I could warm up. It was so cold.
Warm up your piggies.
It was so cold. I shut this piece of equipment off, and it wouldn't start again because it was so cold.
Oh my lord! Do you remember what the wind chill was?
It was like negative 40. I think it was negative 41 or something like that.
Ridiculous.
And so I was like, I went and got warmed up, and I'm like, the more warm I get, the colder it's going to feel out there. So I was like, I just bucked up, and I'm like, I'm going to do from this entrance, and I'm going to drive it all the way back and do Yankee, from our entrance road all the way down Yankee. And I fucking got to the end of Yankee, and I was like, this is fucking stupid.
I don't want to go back. Don't make me go.
I wanted to leave the fucking Ventrac out there.
Y'all can come get it. I ain't going back.
Well, it was stupid. Like, we had, like, fucking advisories. Like, it was literally dangerous to be outside.
Yeah.
And they were just like, yeah, well, fuck it. We got to get the sidewalks clean because, you know, people are going to be walking their dogs.
We got to get them walks cleaned off for those people walking on the fucking Arctic Circle.
So the worst part about this whole thing was I got to the end, freezing ass cold. I seen the car in sight, and I was like, oh, I'm so cold. My legs didn't want to work, so I just fucking got them working. Because I'm just standing still, freezing
like with
ass
your legs
cold.
almost locked.
Yeah, and your legs aren't moving, your joints aren't moving. So I jumped off, and I was running across the street to get in the car, and fucking just slipped and ate it.
Oh.
But my hands were so fucking cold. Like they like hurt to like put pressure on to like get up. And I was like... So I got in the car and warmed up, and then took it back to the shop. And I was like, that was fucking stupid.
And you may be wondering, Jake, where were you during all this? Well, I was sitting in a tractor.
With the heat. Well...
It's a pretty drafty tractor. And really the only thing that gets cold on me is my left foot. Because there's like a hole in the floor next to my foot. And I'm also sitting still. But there is a heater, and after a while, and if the sun comes out, it kind of gets warm in there. But like my left foot, like the left 3 toes on the side of my foot. No, I'm just kidding. My whole foot would just get really cold. That's about it. My really cold stories are more sports related. I had, there was one game where it was like early spring, so it was still kind of wintry. I think it might have been sleeting a little bit, but it was really windy. And I was in the outfield, and all I had on was just my baseball uniform and just like long tight sleeves, like an Under Armour undershirt. That was it. And I'm wearing a baseball hat, nothing on my ears.
Fuck
and
that.
I was standing in the outfield facing in, and the wind was blowing right into my face. And it's like, I have to just stand there and take it because I got to be ready in case the ball comes to me.
And someone just hits a fucking line right. It cracks the ice.
And my hand just goes and just shatters like a pane of glass. Like a SpongeBob
just implodes like the ocean geese.
Like a SpongeBob cartoon joke or something. It was so cold and it was just pelting me straight in my face that between pitches I would flip around and then just go like this so that the wind was hitting me in my back. And then when the pitch was about to go, I'd turn around again and like get in my ready position in case, be ready for the play. Yeah. And I would just do that over and over between plays because it was so brutal.
Can you imagine
the wind blowing
fucking jammed?
Oh,
getting jammed.
that would hurt. I think probably the coldest I've ever been, though, was my freshman year. At the end of football season, we made it to districts, and we were playing up in Pierce. So this is now late fall because it's at the end of the football season. And again, it was like snowing. It was freezing cold. It was windy. And I'm a freshman, so I'm not playing. All I'm doing is standing in place on the sideline. Like at least in baseball, like between innings, I could run into the dugout. I could like throw a jacket on or something or, be out of the wind or anything. But you know how long a football game is? I'm just standing there in one spot for the entire time, not moving. Again, with just like a tight shirt on underneath all my pads. And like I see the other team on the other sideline, they had those like big overcoats that go over their like whole uniform. Yeah. We didn't have that. So we were all huddled together like penguins on the sideline. Like all the people that weren't playing, we were all smushed together, and like when you would move on the sideline, everyone just kind of shuffled together as a group. Like we literally were like a group of penguins because it was so cold.
Fuck that.
Our placeholder, like, who was like a grade above me but also didn't play, but he like was the placeholder for kicks. He like went on for a PAT, and and right after the play was over, he just like sprinted to the sideline to try to get some body heat going. It was brutal.
Well, since we're on this topic, so I've told you guys about my house that we used to have out in the country. Well, we always had this. My dad works he like cleans the roads and stuff. I'm not gonna disclose where my father works on this, even though we have 2 listeners. But
Shouts out to Gavin and Spencer.
Every
episode we're going to shout them out.
But
I was going to do that off the top. I was going to go real quick. Shouts out to Gavin and Spencer. Just keep being you.
Viewing hours. Come on, boys. I know you guys are only listening to this once. Let's go. We got to get up our viewing hours.
I need you guys listening once a day.
But
put it on repeat.
So when we would not be able to go to school or do anything like that, my dad would be pushing snow. We had this
with a maintainer.
We had this stupid game. So we had a dumpster on the second entrance. It was entrance, tree line entrance, and so our game was we'd run barefooted all the way out to the dumpster. Well, previously I just pissed my sister off, and I was like, "You want to play this snow game?"
You called it the snow game?
I don't know what we called it, but
want to play Frostbite?
And so she's like, "Yeah, you go first." And I ran all the way out there in my underwear and nothing on, and this bitch locks the door behind me.
Oh no!
I was so fucking cold. And I banged on the door. She didn't fucking answer. She wouldn't open it. So I went. We had a Great Pyrenees mountain dog, sheep herding dog at the time, and she had this big dog house because she was mostly always outside. And so I went into her dog house and was just hanging out in there with her. Oh, so it was so cold. And then, luckily, my dad didn't take his can of soup. He forgot his can of soup this day and came home. And he's like, "What the fuck are you doing out here? It's
didn't take his Campbell's.
It's cold." And, yeah, I went in there.
Dude, I miss snow days.
I got a fucking...
That was the best. Do you have another story?
One more quick sports one since you told the sports one. See, in high school, I didn't play football, basketball, besides my freshman year. But I did play golf. And golf, I get it, you're walking, but you got to use a lot of your digits that you don't want to use when they're cold.
Your fingers.
So, fingers, toes. But we played in this one tournament. It was in Kearney. And the day before, it just snowed. Out of nowhere. And this is springtime. I think.
It was snowing in the spring?
Early spring.
Okay.
I think.
February?
I can't remember when guys... No, girls are in the spring, I think.
I don't know. Was it February, March? Anyways,
there was snow on the ground, and we literally couldn't even play out of some of the bunkers.
How did you find your ball?
The bunkers were still full of snow. If you seen them get it hidden there, at least you could see your fucking ball mark. And we would just...
Did you use a neon ball so you could find your ball?
Well, no, some of the snow melted off the ground. Because that day that it snowed quite a bit, but it heated up enough to melt the snow. But the next day was fucking cold. We showed up, I was on the driving range, and I was hitting balls, and every fucking shot I hit just, you get jammed in baseball.
It just stung your hands?
Yeah. And I was like, this is fucking terrible. Game-changing innovation. Never thought about it until the week prior when it was freezing-ass cold at practice, and I went and bought a quarterback.
Fireball. Oh.
I went and bought a quarterback hand warmer that goes around your waist.
Mm-hmm.
And so I bought one of those because I had my bag over my back so I can just hook my arms around my straps and just keep them in the hand warmer because I don't like wearing bulky ass gloves. Some kids will wear they have legit winter gloves that they'll just take off and on, off and on, off and on. And so then I just got this and I would just flip it backwards. But that day it was so fucking cold. And I was just wearing khaki pants and my golf polo, and I think I had an undershirt.
Did you have a jacket on?
Yeah, and I think at one point I ended up putting on an actual legit winter coat and started playing in an actual legit winter coat. And even though it restricted the shit out of my swing, but I didn't give a fuck. It was so cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my...
Oh. I was just going to say, I really miss snow days because, like, I don't know about you, but I was a fort builder. I love building snow forts.
Oh,
Did
yeah.
you build snow forts?
Oh, yeah.
Man, I had some pretty legit snow forts.
I built an...
Like with my neighbors and my neighborhood friends.
igloo.
I would always like try to add stuff to it, like put like a I think I had one, like I think I had like a turtle sandbox. Did you have one of those?
Yeah.
I think I would like take the shell of it and use that as the door. I always liked incorporating, like, you knock out a sidewall and put sticks and you make a little window. You take little snacks in there. Dude, I miss the instant relief that came when you were waking up for school and your mom goes, snow day. It's like, oh, I can just stay sleeping and I don't have to get up. I'm on the strawberry one now.
Me too.
So, you may be wondering, guys, I wanted to see what that mouth do. I wanted to see the measurement. Well, we had a little technical difficulties getting the video version up from the last episode. But we're working on it. And by working on it, I mean we're going to try again after this episode to get it onto my laptop so we can get it up. Now that nobody's probably interested anymore. But if you want to go back and watch us backwash some beer into some glasses to see how big our mouths are, I'm going to try to get it up so we can see that.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck's going on. We're letting you guys down.
We're letting them down for show.
But
dude, I'm excited for this weekend.
Oh yeah,
it's going to be a movie.
Well,
as you
when
like to
you
say.
Guys are seeing this, Jake will be 26 and 2 days old.
I was going to say, if you're seeing this, then that means we lived through this weekend. So, everyone, give a hand for the birthday boy.
Yeah, Jake will be 26 in 2 days.
26 years young, baby.
Fucking
that means
old man.
Next year is going to be my golden birthday.
Is it?
Yeah, which is fucking lame. My sister's golden birthday was the 16th. So her sweet 16 was also her golden birthday. Which is bullshit. Sick. What the fuck, Mom? Why'd you have to squeeze her out right then?
Yeah, come on, Mom.
So my grandpa was born on July 17th. And my sister was born on July 16th. And my grandpa said, I'll give you $100 if you give birth on my birthday. So he could have like a grandkid born on the same day as him. And it was the day before. And I think he still gave her 100, or he gave her like, I think he still gave her 100 and he's like, close enough. But dude, I think my other cousin is on the 17th. But
either way,
don't write that down. Don't hold me to that.
Do you know how you were conceived?
I just spilled on myself.
But he's got a hole in his mouth. You just reminded me of a hilarious story that I still don't believe, but I kind of have to believe it because every adult in my life says it's true. When I was a little kid, I guess I used to sleepwalk. Terrible. Oh, shit.
Oh, I gotta tell some of the things I've said to Lena in my sleep.
Oh yeah,
that'd be funny.
So I guess I used to sleepwalk terrible and scare the shit out of my parents. Like I wouldn't sleepwalk in the house. Like I would sleepwalk and walk out the door because we lived in the country. We didn't lock our doors. Nothing. And so,
you would just walk outside?
Yeah.
Did they think maybe we should start locking the doors, or do you think you'd unlock them in your sleep?
I probably would unlock them in my sleep. So I guess one time you were talking about your turtle box, sandbox. Mm-hmm. They were scared shitless because they couldn't find me anywhere, my usual locations of sleeping. Well,
where were your usual locations?
I'll tell them.
Okay.
So my
sorry,
dad
I'm
was
getting ahead of
looking everywhere, and he just happened to lift up my turtle box shell, and I was just laying in my sandbox. I like slid under the lid and just slept in my fucking turtle sandbox.
What time of year was it? Was it in the summer?
Yeah.
So you were.
And I had a pretty sick tree fort, like playground, treehouse, whatever. I used to sleepwalk into that.
That's some hereditary shit. That's kind of creepy.
My parents found me asleep on the trampoline one time.
It's never good going, my parents found me.
And so they used to have my great-grandma's gliding rocking chair. I don't know if you know what that is. But, you know, like a regular rocking chair rocks back, like, backwards and forwards.
Yeah.
Well, this one's got, like, joints on it. So it, like, rocks
yeah,
like...
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, okay. They had that in the corner of their room. And they had, like, their 2 dressers with that in, like, the middle of it. And I somehow got over the top of that and was sleeping behind it and nobody could find me.
Hide and seek champion.
And I slept behind the TV one time. My favorite story of all time is we were watching a movie, my dad and brother, and we're out in like our living room, and I just got up and I was still sleeping, and my brother.
So you fell asleep watching the movie and then got up.
Yeah, and my brother's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I was like, "I gotta pee."
No.
And I walked over to our living room. Not to our living room, our kitchen. Well, we had a decent sized family. We had 3 kids, all in, you know, like younger ages. My 2 parents, dogs. So we didn't have just like a small ass trash can. We had a trash can like yours, like decent size. And it was under our like corner of our cupboards, of our countertop. And I was just standing in our kitchen. And so our kitchen we had like a countertop here, and then we had like shit up here, and there was like a little island that like peeked out into like our dining room and then our living room area. And I was just standing there, and my brother's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I was like, "I'm peeing," and I had my dick out over the trash can. And I thought it was the toilet. And my brother just tells me he just grabbed my arms and just started walking me to the toilet, and I guess I just started pissing all
Oh my god.
As he started walking me to the toilet.
He's like, "Pinch it off! Pinch it off, Camden!"
And I remember something he said. Like, it was like I was sleepwalking, but I was awake, but I was asleep. Doesn't make much sense.
Makes a lot of sense.
I can still hear some of the shit that he was like, telling me. And so, I guess when we got to the bathroom, when he got to the bathroom, he's like, "I'm not fucking holding your tallywhacker for you."
You're like, "Will you flick it for me at least?"
Then,
no.
Yeah,
okay, fine. She told me a couple of recent ones I've said, but I'll talk about some of the past ones. Well, this isn't something I've said, but there was one night where I punched the lamp off of my nightstand.
Please reenact it. It's always the best when you reenact it.
I was sleeping like this, and I just went like this. I just punched the lamp off my nightstand.
Yeah.
And then the other day, she said, "You want to know what you said to me last night?" I was like, "What? What did I say?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, here we go." I guess I stirred awake, and she goes, "Are you sleepy, baby?" And I just go, "Shut the fuck up." And she's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Shut the fuck up." Like, I wasn't like, "Shut the fuck up." Like, I wasn't pissed. It was like kind of playful.
Yeah.
The other thing she just recently told me I did, and this kind of scares me, honestly, because I have no memory of this. I was asleep. I guess we were sleeping butt to butt.
Uh-huh.
I reached back. I pulled her pants down. I pulled my pants down. I pressed my bare ass against her bare ass. And I was just like, "We're connected." Like, what? What does that even mean? Oh, and the other thing she said, she's like, "You sleep talked again last night." I'm like, "What'd I say?" She's like, "You were just like, these Nimrods are not going to figure it out." I wonder who I was thinking about or talking about. Probably someone at work. But
Oh, man. I mean, one time, Bailey was like...
I'm sampling the wares over here. I'm going
down the line.
I'm going 4 for 4. This is going to be my
fourth
new flavor.
When I tend to do crazy shit, and like when I'm sleeping or anything like that, it's when I'm like exhausted. Like when we've been go at work, you know, and I just don't have much time to rest. I have been sleeping like shit.
Maybe it's something about like your brain just reaching a deeper sleep and just weird shit starts to happen.
Well, that and my ADHD, my brain is so active. Like that was my biggest thing when I was a little kid. Like I had to take like melatonin or something like that because it helped shut my brain down. But one night, I guess,
Little perk 30. Take the edge off.
me and Bailey were like, she was like just getting ready. She was like just getting ready to go to sleep or like just dozing off. And I was like full on asleep. And I remember what dream I was having. I was having a dream that I was doing something. And in that dream, I guess I was doing it in real life, but I was sleeping.
Oh, no. So you molested your girlfriend in your sleep?
No, not no.
My
I was
fault.
just like,
Sorry.
I was just like feeling her up, I guess. I was just like grabbing her hips and like pulling her fucking close to me, I guess. And she just turns over and goes, "What the fuck are you doing?" And it like scared me awake. Like I damn near had a heart attack. I was like, I don't know.
You're like, I don't. What it?
And she's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I don't know. I was sleeping." Whether she believes me or not, I was sleeping. I promise you that.
You just go, "Are you horny, baby?"
I just wake up, look at her, I'm like, "Are you horny, baby?"
Do I make you Randy?
Tell them the story about you and Lena when you woke up and you just go, "What'd you do?" Zombies.
So I guess I was watching. Ooh, I bumped my mic there. I'm gonna restart that because I don't know if I messed up my talking. So I'd been watching a lot of like Nazi zombies, like YouTubers, like playing. So I must have had zombies on the brain because she said I don't think I was prompted this time. Usually it starts with like you roll over and it's like you probably are like partially awake, and that's when you can like get in there. You can like kind of get into their sleep brain a little bit, because if you like, what she'll do is she'll talk to me when I'm like rolling over or something, and then I'm responding but I'm asleep. I'm like incoherent.
Yeah.
But I don't know if this one was prompted or not. Maybe she said something to me, but I guess I rolled over.
I think she
and I just looked at her and went, "Zombies." Or what? What was it? What was the story?
She's told me this a couple times, and I can't. I swear, either you or she said something or did something, and you just rolled over and you just grabbed her face, and you were just like, "Zombies."
There was one time she said I scared the shit out of her because she.
Or am I mixing two stories?
I think
together?
you are, because there was one time. Yeah. There was one time where she like was like, "Can you scoot over?" or like, "You're snoring," like, or basically she was upset with me about something. Mm-hmm. And I guess I rolled over and I grabbed her on either side of the face and just went and just stared into her eyes with my eyes open. I was asleep. I have no memory of this because I was sleeping. And I just grabbed her on either side of the head and just stared into her soul. And she's like, "That was scary."
Dude.
I'm like, "I'm sorry."
So, I've watched a lot of scary movies, which is what's holding me back. But I really, really want to, A, film myself while I sleep, and B, have the sound. Like, have you seen those, like, apps you could,
I was
like,
going to say, I'm pretty sure there's an app where if you, like, stir awake, it'll start recording.
Or, like, well, like, I'm saying, like, there's an app of, like, it quote unquote says if you fart or if you do like anything like that in your sleep. Like, but it just...
I thought it was just like if you move...
It just picks up the voice memo. Like, it's like a voice memo, but like, just for like, if you're like sleep talking, it'll start recording it.
I should get that too.
But I want to... We should do a week. This could be our Grass Daddies Podcast challenge for us two. And record ourselves sleeping for a week. And
oh my god!
And get the app that says like what we say in night, and compare it and see, because I've done some dumb shit in my high school. I like got myself to the point where like going astral. I don't know if you know what that is, but yeah.
What?
In high school?
Like with drugs?
No, with just like meditation.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, I watched it on YouTube. You meditate.
How? Go on.
Have you ever heard of the what's the fucking guy? I can't remember his name. The black guy. Not the black. The gray man, or something like that. The guy that comes in with a top hat and cane, and you're supposed to. I've gone through sleep paralysis.
Oh my god. I love sleep paralysis stories and scary stories, but I really want to save that for like
let's do
like a Halloween,
podcast.
like October Halloween scary episode.
Yeah, that's fine. We can wait.
Oh, I love sleep paralysis stories because they're so wild.
Mm-hmm.
Did I ever show you the Mr. Ballin episode where he tells his crazy story?
Mm-mm.
Maybe after this we should watch it because it's not super long. Dude, it's crazy. It's insane. Do you have any like reoccurring dreams that are like?
Yeah, dude, I have like.
I can't remember who it was that told me that I had a reoccurring dream where they would get chased by a giant chicken. I think it was a kid in my high school, and I'm like, that's crazy.
Well, so I
have T-Rex dreams.
I have the same dream. It used to be like twice a year. But now it's like once a year. But my family, we've never went on like a big trip together. Like we've never like flown or anything. But in this one dream, every single time we are on a plane and something happens to like our pilot or whatever.
I'm sorry, it is so funny just sitting here watching you just fumble through and piece your thoughts together. I know you can't help it, but
I'm trying to give you guys the best experience, all right?
My friend BJ was telling me about this. He's like, you'll be sitting there talking and then he'll just say something that absolutely derails what you were talking about. Yeah. And you'll have to be like, anyways, like try to regroup. Well, I'm sorry. Go on. Go on.
You'll say a topic, and then you'll start talking on another topic, and I'm like, I got something to say.
Because I like hearing myself talk.
But
if Tom Brady puts it up, is he getting not?
Bill knows he's good for 60.
Tell your fucking story.
So
can you tell we're getting buzzed?
Something happens with our pilot, and it's only left for me to fly the fucking plane, and I crashed the plane. I crashed the whole plane, and my whole family died.
Tom Hanks. Oh, that's not what Tom Hanks did. Tom Hanks landed it.
I don't land that motherfucker to Hudson. I land that bitch on rock solid ground.
I thought you were gonna say some wild shit. Like I got in the passenger seat and I saw the World Trade Center in front of me.
I also have a dream that
I'm like, here we go.
Chased by an alien through a cornfield.
That's like from like Signs, right? Isn't there like a scary movie about like aliens in cornfields and shit?
I don't know. But either way.
Anyways.
I have another.
I'm always like.
Do you ever have dreams about falling?
Yes. Don't they say like if you fall in your dream,
and you
If you
hit the ground, you die.
Yeah.
That's such horseshit.
If
Yeah.
That's
such horseshit.
If you have a...
You're like, no, it's not. I hit the ground once and died.
Dude, you need...
But you're right here, right now.
Are
we going to kill this case? That's going to be a lot.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. We're going to kill a fucking case. But I love the theories and topics and shit behind sleep. Because to me, sleep is so mysterious. Nobody knows what they do when they're sleeping.
Well, what's crazy is that the human brain is so active when it's resting, or supposedly resting.
Yeah.
It's when your body sleeps. It's when you reset. What's really crazy is what happens when you don't sleep. When people are going on just crazy benders, like there's...
Well, what's the deal they tried? What is that called? Where they made people stay awake for...
Oh, the Russian sleep experiment?
Yeah.
I mean, that wasn't real. It was like a creepypasta thread. But the idea of it is crazy.
I thought that was like an actual thing.
It might have been based in some truth, but I think the actual story you're thinking of was made up story. But who knows? In World War II, there was some crazy shit going on. And I'm sure there probably was people getting tested like that.
Dude, fucking... Number one reason why I quit taking my ADHD medicine is because of insomnia.
Oh, it makes it hard for you to sleep?
Because all day it makes me hyper focused. Because ADHD medicine counteracts and like slows what you are thinking down. So your body feels slower, but you're still comprehending and working on like a normal speed.
Does it kind of make you feel like high a little bit? Or does it just kind of like, I don't feel so crazy today?
I don't know. I was on the highest milligrams of fucking like ADHD medicine you could get. But...
It wasn't Adderall, was it?
No, it was Vyvanse.
Oh.
I couldn't take Adderall. It made me
Well, there was guys, just what I was talking about, guys that stay up for super long and they take like Adderall. And they stay up and they don't go to sleep for days and then they start to trip the fuck out.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's like people that do acid and shit. Most of your trips happen because you're super tired. Because it like counteracts with your body. Tells you like, hey, like I want to do this, but then your body is like...
Because it's different from like mushrooms.
Yeah.
There's certain drugs that just like, oh, they make colors vibrant and they make textures kind of move a little bit. And then there's some drugs that are just like, do you want to live your life in the course of 5 minutes? Like we were just watching that Game Over Man movie, which we need to watch sometime because it's super funny.
I fucking love that movie.
Oh wait, you did watch it.
Yeah, I've seen it, but I'll watch it again with you. I don't give a fuck.
Because the one character like does salvia. And I was like looking up like salvia because I kind of knew about it. And let me just look it up really quick because it's the definitions that I was reading were super funny.
So while you're going on that, back to the topic of my ADHD medicine. Once that would wear off, my body would finally realize that that's gone, and my brain would start going ape shit. So I couldn't go to sleep. So I would essentially have insomnia because my head was going so fast, I couldn't sleep. So then I'd have to take a melatonin. Anyways.
Salvia. How you might feel. Mild hallucinations at low doses. High doses can bring a dramatic time distortions and frightening hallucinations. That sucks. I don't even want to know. How long does it take to work? If smoked, instant. So it's like the moment you exhale, you're gone.
I thought salvia was just like a strain of weed.
A Mexican plant with leaves containing psychoactive chemicals that produce hallucinations when shooters smoke. Okay, so it's like
peyote.
Sure.
Kind of. I don't...
It's not weed, but it's like
a
different plant.
Well, because I don't know if I'm wrong. Nobody correct me if I'm wrong.
Could trigger a psychotic episode if someone is already experiencing mental health problems. Oh my God.
Jesus Christ. So...
How long the effects last? About 20 minutes if smoked, up to 2 hours if chewed. Fuck that.
Dude, I don't understand how people can do fucking acid.
It's wild, man.
Like
It's
crazy
brain
shit.
altering. It fucks with the chemical balance in your brain.
I was hanging out with this kid. Didn't know he was into drugs. I knew he smoked weed at the time, but I was like, whatever. Because I was like, I don't have to do it. Like, just because I hang out with you doesn't mean I have to do it. And
Like Zins.
one time he popped a tab of acid. He made us go get it, and I was like, whatever. And I was stressed the fuck out because everybody's like, you got to make sure people have good trips. Like, if you set a hostile environment, they're going to have hostile trips. And I was like, I don't want this motherfucker beating the shit out of everybody because he's having a bad fucking trip.
All of a sudden, you just start swinging on everyone.
And so then later that night, I finally went to sleep because I had to go to work the next day, and we were drinking. And I woke up at 4 a.m, and he's still just sitting there playing Fortnite. He's just like,
Oh, yeah.
He's just fucking laser focused, dude. Like,
You told me
I
this.
go, all right, I'm going to work now. And he doesn't even go. He just goes, like, was just laser focused.
I'm locked in.
But
I'm getting this dub. And he's just like up against a wall, just like running. Not moving.
I think it's weird to say, but I've already said I think the stuff about sleeping and all that shit, what people believe about sleeping, is interesting. But something I find very interesting is indigenous people, like the Day of the Dead, like all that shit.
Cultural type
like,
of
kind of creepy,
cultural
of
like
fucking,
mind alteration belief. Well, not mind alteration necessarily, but just like kind of like spiritual, like astral, like you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, so
Beliefs and traditions and
there
whatnot.
is a podcast, another podcast. It's called National Parks After Dark. They're way bigger than us, but that's what,
Shouts out to shout them out, plug them.
well,
They might not have heard it, or Gavin and Spencer. Have you heard of
National
this?
Parks After Dark. They talk about crazy shit that's happened in national parks. Well, there's these people that get like lost or whatever, but they went on one of their episodes was talking about like indigenous people and their beliefs. So they believe that you go through stages. Scratch all that I just said.
It's one of my favorite podcasts.
Well, I got it mixed up because there's a lot of podcasts that I listen to, but that they
Scratch everything you just heard.
You go through. They say that you go through stages, right? And in these stages of your death is like challenges that you have to face before you can get to, you know,
enlightenment
what
or whatever.
some people might say is
Nirvana
going to
or
heaven or hell or whatever, like how their beliefs go. But then at the very last stage, the reason why most people light candles is so they can follow the light through like all their challenges. You'll follow the light. That was like one of the things. And they were like, peyote was, which I don't know if it's true or not because it's on the internet, but that indigenous people would smoke peyote because it would give them like
open their minds.
Yeah, and like let them see how to, like, if they were,
And they probably believed, and I'm not trying to put words in anyone's mouth. Did they believe like their trips were like, this is what reality is, and like I'm
like they
being
would
blinded?
like, they would believe that they're like going through something, and they would smoke peyote to see how they should attack this object that they're going like forth with. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it would give him, like, a foreseeing eye. Like, this is how the future is going to happen.
There was this,
Drugs are fucking wild. GHP.
GHP. Oh, should I tell that story or no?
What story?
About my neighbor that lived behind us? Or that lives behind us?
Oh, you can't.
The fire pit? I can end it on that because it's a pretty good story.
Yeah.
So, we were having a fire pit one night, and I went inside to pee or something, and how many is that for you? This is my 5th, so this would be my 6th.
So I gotta catch up.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Work
6.
tomorrow's gonna fucking suck.
Fuck them. I went inside to pee or something.
Oh, you grabbed one?
I went inside to pee or something, and I thought I'd be funny by playing a video over my speaker really loud through my window. And I played the video. There's a meme where this little kid is getting a haircut, and then the guy doing the haircut goes, "Damn, I messed up. We gotta go bald." And then the kid goes, "Ah!" and he like screams because he's like crying because he thinks he has to get his head shaved. He was just joking, but the kid thought he was being serious. I just played that full volume through my speaker out the window, which in my room it sounded quiet, but the speaker was projecting it out into the backyard to everyone that was sitting at the fire pit. And I thought I was being funny. I go and pee. I go back outside. And then my friends and roommates are going, "Did you hear our neighbor? Or the guy that lives behind?" I'm like, "What?" They're like, "Yeah, he said something about burning people." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
Up.
And then I hear this guy behind my head yelling. And he's like, "You shouldn't be having a fire. You can't burn people." Something like that. He's like, "I'm calling the police." And we're like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
So, and then we start hearing like, he had to have looked up like a YouTube video of like police chatter, radio chatter or something.
Yeah.
Because we started hearing like police radio chatter coming from like the back of his house. So I think he was just playing like police chatter through a speaker to try to scare us that the police were coming.
Do you think that, which I know where the end of this story is going. I don't want to ruin anything. Do you think maybe he just had a setup? Like a full-on fucking setup?
Well,
we can leave that there because I don't want to ruin the story.
And we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Because maybe. And we'll get to that. So, that all breezes over, and the next day comes. And I get home from work, and so whatever. The next day comes, I'm inside, I hear our doorbell ring, and I kind of look through the window, and I'm like, I see a guy with like kind of a shaved head and glasses, and he just looked like a guy. And I'm like, I don't know who that is. And I go back in, and I go into Corbin's room, I'm like, there's someone at the door, and I don't know who it is. And he's like, well, answer it. Thanks, Corbin. Anyways, so I go and answer it, and he's like, "Hey, I live behind you to the side." And what I thought he was about to say was like, "Did you hear that crazy guy yelling last night?" Because I wanted to be like, because he's like, "Did you have a fire pit last night?" Because what I wanted to be like, "Oh my god, did you hear that fucking crazy guy too?" But I didn't, and I kind of let him keep talking. He's like, "I live behind you to the side. I'm the guy with like the Rottweiler or Bulldog or whatever." And I realized, oh, it's him. Yeah. The guy that was like talking to us, like it's him.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad I didn't say anything. And he's just like, so the whole time the night before, we were just like, he's probably like really drunk or like on drugs or something. Like it'll breeze over. He'll like sober up. Obviously, he's just going through it right now.
Yeah.
he'll sober up. But then the next day happens, so I know for a fact he's sober. And he comes to the door, and he goes, candidly, straight to my face, just goes, "Were you burning people last night?" And I was like, "What?" And he's just like, "I heard screaming last night." And he's referring to that video I was playing over the speaker where the kid goes, and he must have thought that it was a woman or someone screaming. And this will all make sense in a second once I clarify. But I was just like, I mean, like, we got some, like, female roommates who were probably, like, laughing or something. That might have been what you heard. And he's like, "Oh, okay. Well, are you sure you, like, didn't slip them some GHB or something and burn them?"
You're like,
And he's just straight face asking me this dead serious to my face. And I'm just like,
yeah, I didn't Bill Cosby anybody.
at this point, I'm like, "No, that didn't happen." And he's like, "Oh, okay." Like, almost kind of defeated. And he's like, "Well, can I look in your fire pit?" And I'm just like thinking, like, what was he thinking?
Fuck.
Was he wanting to see if he could find human remains or something?
Well, bones burn at, like...
What? First of all, why would you know that? Anyways.
Because...
off that topic.
I'm into that creepy shit. Dude.
Anyways. Oh, my God. National Parks After Dark. Anyways.
Morbid. Listen to Morbid.
He's like, "Well, can I look in your fire pit?" And I'm just like, because I didn't want to, like, be like, "No, get the fuck out of here." But I also wasn't going to be like, "Yeah, let me walk you into my property."
Well, like, because
So
he's your neighbor. You don't want to, like, I can kind of see where you're coming from. You don't want to build, like, a fucking hostile environment with your fucking neighbor.
Exactly. I wasn't just going to be like, "Get the fuck out of here."
Fuck
like,
you, mate.
First of all, you don't know who anyone is. You can't just say shit like that to someone without knowing who they are.
Especially now in the world that we live in, people just don't give a fuck.
Anyways. So he's like, "Can I look at your fire pit?" And so I'm glad my brain was just taken over for me at this point because I didn't know what was going on. And I just said, "You can look from the fence." Because I was like, that's a fair compromise because he's technically not, like, going into the backyard. And I'm also not saying, "No, get the fuck out of here."
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Should I go, like, around this way or this way?" Like, I'm just like, what is happening right now? Like, he was just, like, dead serious, just wanted to look in our fire pit. And I was like, around that way. Like, that side of the house would work better. And he, like, I, like, looked through our side window in our kitchen, and I can see him, like, trying to look into our backyard.
Which you can't see shit from your fence. Like,
I mean, you can see where the fire pit is.
The fire pit.
But you're not, like, looking down in it. And I don't know, was he going to be, like, poking through the ashes or something? Anyways. So that was kind of a crazy... He walks away. That was kind of a crazy interaction. I didn't know what the fuck happened or what was going on. The next day...
Martin's out there.
Should I let him in?
Should we let him in since Lena's not down here?
This is already running long. All right, fuck it. Let's let him in.
Long pod, baby. Let's go.
Oh, it's Rue.
Rue? What are you doing, Rue? Meow.
She's kind of hesitant.
Meow.
She's hesitant. Watch her and make sure she doesn't pee on anything.
I don't think she will.
All right, like usual, and like I always like to say, we're going off the rails. She hasn't been in this room before, so she's kind of sketched out. I don't think so.
Well, I can't see her, so...
Anyways, let me finish my story.
Go for it.
So the next day I get home from work, and my next door neighbor, I'm getting out of my truck, and she's like, "Hey, Jake." And I'm like, "Hey." And my next door neighbor is super nice. Her and her husband, they have like 5 kids that live there, which is a lot of kids. But they were super nice and super cool. And she's like, "Hey, I see you met," which I don't know his last name, but this is just for the sake of the story. Maybe I'll bleep his name too. I don't know.
I would.
She's like, "I see you met so and so," and I was just like, "Yeah. And she's just like, she could tell I was like super confused by the whole interaction. And she's like, yeah, he's kind of an interesting character. She's like, he like went overseas, like in the military, and he came back and he like had PTSD and he's schizophrenic. So I was honestly relieved because I was like, he was just going through a mental condition episode. He wasn't just some guy that
At least he's not like a fucking like.
At least he wasn't like tripping out on drugs. He was just having an episode. And I'm sure me playing screaming super loud through a speaker like probably sent him into an episode.
PTSD is not one of those things you can fuck around with.
Now, she did tell me something kind of funny. I don't know if it's funny, but I found it kind of funny. She goes, yeah, she thought my husband was so-and-so, like a political figure, and would come over and like chew him out sometimes. But for the most part, when he wasn't having like a flare-up, he was really nice, and he had a kid, has a kid, and their kid would play with ours sometimes. And like when you have like schizophrenia or something like that, you have to be mentally fit in order to care for a child. So you have to like every so often you have to just like, I don't know if it's like a test or something, but you have to like prove that you're fit to be able to take care of a child.
Hi, Rue.
And but she was like, yeah, he had his Facebook profile is now like blocked and like nobody can see it now. But on Facebook, he used to have like a bio, like like an overview map of the neighborhood, and he would have a bio for each house. And he said the bio for our house was, if your kid is missing, it's probably here. Because they had like 6 kids. Which is kind of funny, but also not really that funny. Because it's kind of, you know.
Well, but like,
I don't want to laugh at his condition, but it's also just kind of funny.
It is kind of funny because me and you were just becoming friends.
Yeah.
Before they moved on with their life. But, dude, these kids had a fucking path. We had a sheepdog.
Eroded away.
We had a sheepdog. She wore a path around our house.
They had a racetrack that they had worn down.
She thought that we like her sheep, our Great Pyrenees I was telling you about.
Mm-hmm.
She wore a path around her house because at night she would just do nothing but run around the house. That's what this fucking house looked like. Like they had a herd of fucking sheep or something.
Oh, there she is.
Hi, Rue.
Welcome, Rue, to the podcast. Lena, please don't be mad at me if you're watching this later. Oh, there she goes.
Rue. See you later, Rue. But yeah, they had a fucking path war around this house.
Oh, the other funny story about him. I can't remember if this was before or after she told me this. My neighbor told me this. I was sitting in my backyard. Oh my God, we're about to talk about grass. Prepare yourself.
Easy. Don't get a fucking raging boner.
I was sitting in my backyard watching my sprinklers, watering my grass. That was it. That's all the grass I was going to talk about. So, he comes storming out of his back door, and he goes, "Who's talking shit?" And I was like, I'm the only other person out here right now. I did. I kind of like slinked down in my chair. I'm like, what the?
Well, as you guys should know, Jake's a 6'6" big motherfucker. But like, still,
that's so aggressive. It caught me off guard. And he goes, "Who's talking shit? Was it you?" And he pointed at me, but I also wasn't sure.
And you're just like,
this might have been after she told me about him, so I think I had an inkling about what was going on. She goes, "Who was talking shit?" He goes, "Who was talking shit? Was it you?" And I just stand up and I go, "Me?" And he's like, "Yeah, you." And I'm just like, "No, it wasn't me." And he's like, "I heard someone talking shit." And then he goes, "Is there someone on my attic?" Which,